A very warm welcome to you, and thank you so much for joining our Homeopathy 24/7 podcast. We are going to be speaking to an array of international guests who will share their knowledge and experiences of homeopathy with you. We will discuss all types of subjects such as remedies, symptoms, and stories of health. No matter where you are with your homeopathic journey, we aim to inspire you on your quest to natural health and living. The podcast is brought to you by Mary Greensmith, the founder of Homeopathy 24/7, which is a global platform connecting you with a homeopath wherever you are in the world, 24 hours a day. So let's get started with today's chat. Please welcome Mary Greensmith.
Hello, welcome. So lovely to see you. And it's so brilliant that we've been able to have Sinéad Hurley come and join us today and talk about homeopathy. Welcome, Sinéad.
Thank you very much, Mary. I'm delighted to be here with you.
And it's lovely that you can join us all the way from Ireland. How is it there at the moment?
At the moment, we have blue sky. Imagine that. Yeah, and it's a bit cool now. We had the last 8 weeks have been just really mild, which is strange for us. But now we're getting to kind of cooler weather in the last few days, but still beautiful and fresh.
Oh, fantastic. That's great news. Let's talk about homeopathy.
Let's bring it on.
Okay, so I have picked up some questions from our Facebook group, Homeopathy No, it wasn't from that group. It was from Ask a Homeopath and from Homeopathy 24/7. So I've just chosen some questions that perhaps need a slightly long answer than we usually would type when we're helping people learn more about homeopathy. And if you want to learn more about homeopathy and you haven't yet joined these groups, it's a really good opportunity for you to get some answers straight from a homeopath. So the first question then, if a coffee drinker wants to have a homeopathic remedy, say for instance they've got a headache, is it okay? Are the remedies going to work for coffee drinkers?
My simple answer to that is yes, because more often than not, the remedies are very robust and strong, so they can get through what it needs to get through to do the work. But also, the thing is, I would be saying to my clients, make sure that you don't have the coffee straight after taking the remedy. So give it a bit of time. I kind of say no food 5 minutes before or after. And then with regard to coffee, I'd probably give it an hour either side. And then they could take the remedy. So yeah, I haven't seen it being any major issue in my practice at all.
Yeah, we're quite often saying, aren't we, really, that if the remedy's right, it's going to work. It's an energetic remedy. Yeah. So we're not really worried about that. Let's turn this question around a little bit, because what if they have been drinking coffee for the last 20 years and then they stop drinking coffee and then they have a headache? What would we suggest is going on there?
My thoughts there is that they're detoxing from the coffee, possibly. Their body is going through a detox, and it's like a withdrawal. Yeah. And when we have withdrawals like that, the body will start throwing out symptoms. So it's a good thing, really. But the strength of the headache mightn't feel so good for the client. So what you might have to do is kind of slow things down on the detoxing maybe a little. That's the way I'd be looking at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And also perhaps thinking, okay, this is actually a different remedy than it would be if the headache had been caused by something else.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
So we're always looking for, well, what has made this happen? What has changed? How might that headache have been caused? And therefore choose the remedy that's most suitable for that. Because of course, every time we have somebody come to us with a headache, they might have a different remedy because they will be experiencing their symptoms differently.
Exactly, and it's individual to each person. So therefore, that's the main job really of the homeopath. When a client comes into me, I usually say, I'm making the jigsaw of you. You have to give me the pieces,
Yeah.
So the more accurate you are with those pieces. So if it's a headache, I have to get the details of that headache really, really clear. So is it the left side? Is it the right side? Do you feel it at the back? Do you wake up in the morning with them? And then once you get that clear picture, you just match that picture with the best matching homeopathic remedy. So you can't say there's just one remedy for headaches, because there could be loads.
Yeah, and it means that we need loads of information, doesn't it, to find the
Yeah,
remedy.
absolutely. We need, and clear, precise as possible.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's what clients aren't used to doing. Maybe if they haven't been to a homeopath before, they might struggle a little bit with the detail. But once they understand why we need the detail, they're totally on board. It's great.
And of course, that's absolutely right, and the same for if they're self-prescribing for themselves and for their family as well. If they're learning to do this at home, it is no good saying that remedy is for headache, that remedy is for toothache. We need a whole collection of symptoms, even if you're doing this at home yourself. That's why it's different than mainstream medicine.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is, when you're doing it at home yourself, you can easily kind of see a pattern maybe with a child, and you've put in the hard work. You've found that this is a remedy that's really good when this happens to the child. So the chances are it may happen again, and that may be the remedy that's needed. So once you put in the hard work, first up, it can stay the same remedy. Now, sometimes it does change, but more often than not, it can be the same remedy needed again.
And that's another good reason why we must take really good notes and write down all of the remedies that we considered, the remedies that we used, and the results that we had from that remedy as well, because it might save you a whole lot of work the next.
Absolutely. Yeah, I at home in my own house, I'm trying, I have teenagers, so I'm constantly saying, I can't be keeping all the notes for you. And I want them to take control of their health, because they're going to be heading off to college and they need to be able to do this. So I tell them to put it on their phone. So just make notes, date, what you took and what you took it for, and then follow up. And that's the thing where they might fall through. We're not fully doing that, but anyway, we're getting better.
Getting better. But that's really interesting as well, because homeopathy is about taking back responsibility, isn't it? And what I've loved about watching the groups growing is that the people on the groups are getting used to knowing which questions we're going to be asking. So they're coming in with a lot more information. And we see this with our clients as well, don't we?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. People get used to the questioning and they kind of know what you're going to be asking. And that's brilliant, because they're using it at home or they're just familiar with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And when they first start, they're thinking, my goodness, why are you asking this question? What's that got to do with anything? And then, after a few weeks, they just get the hang of it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, it goes straight on to another question, which is very similar. So we might as well follow with that one. And they're asking, can they take baked nettle? It's safe to eat, but can they eat it whilst they're on homeopathy, using homeopathy? Should they wait for a day? Should they not take it while they're having a remedy? It's also saying that nettle is not as strong as mint, but it still has a strong flavour. What are your points of view on this one?
My view would be very similar, I suppose, to the coffee, really. It's strong, but not as strong as mint. I agree with there. But what I would say is leave enough time. So I would always kind of go an hour either side. I wouldn't say you can't eat it at all. I would just go, maybe just take the remedy and leave an hour before you'd eat something like that. It's like brushing your teeth. You wouldn't, take the remedy and brush your teeth straight after. Just leave some time, because that's a strong taste that's going to come from toothpaste. So you just have to leave a little bit of time to leave the remedy work, and then you can, by all means, eat your baked nettle.
Yeah, absolutely. There would be so many things that we couldn't do if we thought that it wouldn't work with a strong flavour. It would severely restrict our eating and drinking habits.
Hugely, absolutely. No, it's great that they're so strong, they still work, which is wonderful.
Yeah, they're really quite resilient, really, aren't they? And I do quite often think for myself and my own family that it's our job to experiment to see if they still work straight after toothpaste or straight after coffee or before coffee. And so, Yeah, I do actually take pleasure in thinking, let's try this now, let's try this later and see.
Yeah.
Because, the remedies are tiny. We know that it doesn't matter if it's not worked. We would take another dose anyway, just to make sure that nothing had affected it.
Yes, absolutely. And it is lovely to do that kind of research yourself, testing out. Yeah. It makes, it gives you more confidence as well in yourself.
Exactly. And you get to know it. And because, of course, it is so different than mainstream medicine, we do have to point out here for people who are not used to using homeopathy that homeopathy is safe. It is a substance which has been diluted so many times that it hasn't got the original remedy in it. That's if it's over 12C. And therefore, if we do redose, it doesn't go on how big we are or how much we weigh. We would actually give the same dose to a mouse as we would to an elephant. And if we don't see effects straight away, it is okay to take a second dose.
Exactly. And the other one that I see happening quite, people, moms especially, asking, my child got the remedy kit and is after swallowing a full bottle of belladonna, is that okay? And obviously, if it's all done in one beautiful feast of belladonna, it's fine, but not if it's taken every half hour, a little different. So the chances are that a child catches a bottle of belladonna, they'll take the whole lot together anyway because they taste good. But yeah, it's just to know that it's a little different to conventional medicine that way, yes.
Yeah, it's a really good point, this. We do, of course, strongly recommend that you keep your medicines, all of your medicines, out of the reach of your children so that they can't be taking the whole bottle. But you don't necessarily have to rush to hospital as you would if it were any other type of medications. And so just to make sure that we're understanding this, the number of pills that you have in one go equals one dose. But if you have one pill every half an hour for 3 hours, that equals 6 doses, which is completely different than having 6 pills in one go.
Exactly. Yes. And that takes a little getting used to for people as well. Yeah, because it's not the way conventional medicine is. So it's very, very different. And the other thing is, to finish the bottle, and that's not the way we do it either. It's very much you watch and observe. And if the symptoms are gone, then you can stop that remedy if you're on an acute, obviously.
Yeah. And while we're thinking about that, actually, with the fact that homeopathic remedies don't really go out of date. If you can keep them out of direct sunlight, then they can last for years. So you've got another aspect that is so completely different to mainstream medicine because it is made completely differently. It's kept completely differently and it acts completely differently.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, so are you ready for another question?
Go on. Give me another one.
Okay, we have a family member visiting for 2 months. The family member is using chemo tablets daily. Now, I started reading up about this and found out about shedding. So I'm thinking of taking cadmium sulf 200C. How should I dose for the whole family? Should I be having it once a day?
Okay. So my view on this would be that each one of us has our own inbuilt little system going on to protect us. And that system is called your immune system. So my advice here would be to make sure that we build up the immune systems of each member of that family, make sure they're strong, healthy, and I don't see then the need for any remedy. I really don't, because if we have our immune system built up, we have the defenses ready for action. So anything that will come our way, our immune system should be able to tackle. So that's my view on it.
I agree. We are too quick to jump in ahead of time. So remember that you haven't got any symptoms, so you don't really need a remedy. Homeopathy is based on having symptoms and then choosing the most indicated remedy. So in this instance, somebody else has taken a medication. If you are fit and healthy, and there are lots of ways for you to be fit and healthy and make sure you've got a proper diet, and that your body's got all the nutrients that it needs. Or if you are taking another homeopathic remedy ongoing or have done in the previous month or so, that remedy has been chosen to build your immunity anyway. So you wouldn't need to take another remedy.
Exactly. I totally agree. Yeah, 100%.
So if, for instance, the rest of the family are getting a cough and you think, oh, should I take a remedy so I don't get the cough? If you're already taking a remedy, or you have done recently, that remedy has been chosen for you, and you won't need the most indicated cough remedy that the rest of the family might be having.
Yeah, because your immune system will be good and strong.
Yeah. I think it might be worth us pointing out, if you did choose to have a remedy for this reason, have one, not one a day, only one dose, and that will be enough. You won't need to keep taking this remedy.
Yeah, and maybe a lower potency, possibly.
Yes. Yes.
I'd be kind of thinking like a 30C might do the job, just if it needed to be.
Yeah, I think you're right. And actually, I think in any case of giving cadmium sulf, I would always give it in a 30C. I don't think I can think of a reason why you would need to go higher potency.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to a next question. Chamomile, Passiflora, and valerian, are they good remedies for an 11-month-old baby to help with sleep?
Okay. Chamomile, yes, I've used that quite often. Passiflora is a remedy I wouldn't have used very often. And valerian, is it you call it? Yeah. I don't think that there's a homeopathic remedy. Maybe there is, but I don't know of it. So
because they have written that, I'm thinking that they're actually referring to herbal remedies.
Possibly, yes.
So let's just go through the difference between the herbal remedies for sleep and the homeopathic remedies, because they are worlds apart, aren't they?
100%, yes. Yeah, well, you see, with homeopathy, like you said prior there a while ago, you said that, there's none of the original substance in anything over 12C. So the remedies are potentized. That's what we call it, to make them stronger, to break them up to 30C, 200C, 1Ms, right? Whereas in herbal medicine, it's the tincture of that herb is what is being used. So there's no potentizing as such. So that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest difference I can see anyway, Mary. Yeah.
Yeah, and absolutely. And we're not herbalists. So actually, we can't comment whether these as herbs would be sensible for you to be giving your baby.
Yeah, we know that Chamomilla is a big one for babies that are struggling to sleep, because in a homeopathic remedy, we know that.
Yes.
It is a big remedy, but there's other remedies. And like Passiflora is a remedy, but like I say now, it wouldn't have been one of the ones I'd have used very often. And maybe that's because Chamomilla does a great job.
Absolutely. So we just need to stress really the difference that as a homeopathic remedy, we're now talking about an energetic remedy with none of the original substances, and it is safe for babies. So yes, it is safe. It is a good thing to do if your baby needs help sleeping. If it's a herbal remedy, it's got lots of the original substance in, and you need to take advice on this, because I'm not sure whether it would be safe for a baby to take. But so let's go back then and talk about chamomile and passiflora as homeopathic remedies. Chamomile we use a lot because it is such a good sleep remedy. Passiflora, as you said, I don't use it a lot. I know that it used to be in one of the original Helios kits, and I never used it. And you're telling me now that it's not in the Helios kits anymore.
Yeah, I don't think it is. In
No.
my time anyway, I've never seen Passiflora in the 36 first aid kit at all.
Okay.
You know what? I'd say, Mary, I don't even have Passiflora in my big briefcase of remedies.
No.
No.
I must say it's not one that I have put in. But anyway, I have got my book, my Materia Medica here. So I thought I'd just look it up and see. And the first thing that actually comes up is mentally worried, overworked, insomnia of infants. So
Oh,
actually, it might be a really good remedy. So well done, Mum, for looking
yeah.
at this. Nervousness, excitability, restlessness, acute mania, excitement, hysteria. Yeah, so interesting.
So maybe it's one I need to add to my remedy kit.
Well, when Chamomilla doesn't work.
Yes.
Because of course Chamomilla has got that restlessness, hasn't it? And the
Oh, yeah.
angry, loud, screaming, crying.
Screaming, and no matter what you do, there's no pleasing. Up or
Yeah,
down doesn't please. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we know that chamomile is such a good remedy for this. So you don't need all of the remedies, and thank goodness you don't, because there are well over 5,000-6,000 remedies now, aren't there?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's so many. And yeah, a lot of the time, it's the polychrest, the real common remedies that we use over and over again. And they do so much work. And like when you're treating at home, if you understand some of those polycrests, you can do a lot of work.
So let's just talk about what a polychrest is, because as a homeopath, we know that the polycrests are the remedies that we use a lot. We have used them a lot over many, many years. And so our Materia Medica is full of information about the polycrest. So it'll tell us about every aspect that these remedies have been used. And so there are 50 really well-known polycrests, and in the UK these polycrests have been licensed for particular areas of health. For instance, most people know that arnica is used for bruising. Because we have used them such a lot, we have got such a big database of information that we have got enough evidence for that. In the UK, the licensing of homeopathic remedies costs thousands and thousands of pounds and has to be repaid every year. So it is a huge expense for a very small, how shall I say, turnover industry, which homeopathy is, because of course we only charge very, very small amount for remedies. They're not hugely expensive. So these remedies, we know a lot about them. We've used them a lot. They're in the kits. We know that they can be used for many different aspects of health, as opposed to very small remedies, which only have a tiny little picture and might just be used for one or two things.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why the 36 remedy Helios kit is full of polychrest, because they can be used for so many different ailments.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. I remember my mother-in-law one stage said to me, "But how can there be a remedy for everything?"
Yes.
And I'm going, well, one remedy covers quite a lot, so there's a lot covered in the polycrests.
You're right. Yes, it's well worth knowing more about the polycrest. In fact, we could put some links to some kits and to more information and Materia Medica about the polycrest for you to have a look and get to know.
Brilliant. Good idea.
Sinead, thank you so much for joining me today.
You're more than welcome. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
I hope you'll come again soon. Thank you.
I will indeed.
Thank you, Sinead, for coming in and talking with us today and helping answer those questions in so much more detail. It's been really, really useful. Now, next week, I'm going to be introducing you to our new mini courses and kits. We have worked hard to put together some little mini kits for very specific areas of first aid prescribing, so that you have got the remedies and the information together right when you need it. I hope you're going to be able to join us and just find out how useful these are going to be for you to have the mini kits in the places that you need them, so that you are prepared with your homeopathy and you've got access to the right information right on your fingertips. See you then. I do hope you've enjoyed these episodes, and I do hope you can subscribe to our channels. Now, there are various ways for you to listen to our podcast or watch it on video on YouTube. So whether it's iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube, please do subscribe and please do leave us a review. If you leave us a review on these platforms, then more people will see our podcast. We just want more people to share the joy of homeopathy. It's a choice that everybody should know about. Please do everything you can to help us help more people.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and look forward to listening to our next one. Please don't forget to follow our podcast on your chosen channel, and please do leave us a review so we can continue to share homeopathy with as many people as possible. If you do have any questions, please do reach out to us on any of our social platforms mentioned in the show notes. We at Homeopathy 24/7 hope to empower you on your natural health journey.